Hey guys, I'm back. It's been a minute, and this is the first time me being back on the podcast, being 17 years old. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about my week, Christmas, my birthday. It was honestly pretty shitty. Just gonna leave that behind. And I honestly have to laugh at myself because the topic of this podcast, or the topic of today's video, is about being present. But the reason that I didn't do the podcast last week was because instead of consuming content and filming content, I was instead hanging out with my sisters, hanging out in real life, like being in the present. Because Saturdays are always the days I remember to record, and that Saturday my sister, it was like her third day here, and we just like watched movies, and it was super comforting and nostalgic. And also I have pre-recorded videos just in case moments like these happen where life gets too stressful or I forget to record an episode for that week. And I genuinely just forgot to post like the bucket of videos I have. I feel like I was so wrapped up about living in the present that I forgot to be a content creator. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. Not needing to film, not needing to consume, just moving and just creating your life. But here's a scary thing about the perfect moment with my sister. Have you ever been laughing with your friends or just sitting in a room with your family and your loved ones, and then suddenly like the room just gets quiet? Nothing changes, the lighting is the same, but something in your brain just glitches. You suddenly realize that the moment that you guys are having right now isn't going to happen again. This is a one-time experience, and like you might as well enjoy it. You might as well be fully in the present with them because you know that this moment isn't going to last. There's a name for this, and it's actually called anticipatory nostalgia. And it's a feeling of missing a moment while you are still living in it. And I felt this with my sister. I was so happy she was there, but in the back of my head, I was already grieving the fact that when break ends and she goes home, it's not going to feel the same. Like the house is going to feel quiet, and I'm not going to have someone to talk about like life with when I'm bored, and like someone who I get to hang out with when I'm doing homework, and someone who we get to just like eat together and watch movies together and just do fun stuff together and just talk and like show my music to that lives in the same roof, or like not lives, that's staying in the same roof. Um that's not going to be the same after break. All right, let me ask you something. If you could freeze any moment in time, it doesn't have to be a big award. It could be like a small moment in time, a quiet moment, an intimate moment with someone. What would it be? Because when I think about that question, I think about my mom in Dominican Republic, not even here. The frame would just be me and her hanging out, cooking, or cuddling in bed and just like sharing a moment. And I think because as a small child, not really seeing your mom creates this big hole in you, kind of like that every time you see your mom, you know that this moment isn't going to last forever. And you know that like you kind of have to be able to bring yourself into the present a lot of times. And it's because I barely see her. And it hurts because it's so small and safe, but I feel so loved. And in that exact moment, and in that exact same breath, I know that one day I'm going to leave this moment and I'm going to be on a plane, and I'm not going to have the same feelings anymore. And that is what pre-grieving is. It's when you try to take a mental screenshot of a moment because you know that the memory will fade away. You know that quote from The Office that was like, I wish I knew that I was in the good old days before the good old days passed. And I have such a big fear that I'm living the good old days and I'm just not aware of it yet. And it makes me so anxious because I just turned 17. So like, what if like as soon as I'm like an adult, it just doesn't feel the same anymore? Like maybe it's just not as fun, or you're not able to do the same things you loved anymore. Maybe a lot of doors shut close, like because you have different responsibilities. And this is why I think our generation struggles with dating. I find myself pulling away before things even start. I fall in love with potential, and then reality hits. And I have a defense mechanism where I tell myself, don't get attached, it's temporary. It's easier to be cold and keep my boundaries than to let someone in, knowing that the world is going to move us apart eventually. And another fear I have is that if I show the universe that I'm too comfortable in like a situation, it's going to take me apart from that moment where I'm too comfortable. Because like something bad has to happen to balance it out. And honestly, I think that's why I do this. That's why I have a podcast. That's why I write poetry. That's why I create art that captures a moment of time. I'm terrified of forgetting. It feels like sometimes I want to document every moment of becoming the person who I will become in the future, because I always have an idea, but you never know. Time changes, people change, the things you like change. And like you truly never know. One moment could change your whole entire life. And on top of that, I want to remember who I was at 17. I feel like, I don't know, it's such like a pivotal year for me. And um like throughout 16, I really learned a lot about myself. And I think that was a big motivation on why I wanted to start this podcast. I wanted to see like how deep can I really get? And honestly, that is genuinely one of my goals in life, to become as self-aware of myself as possible. And that may be like okay, wait, like not super self-aware like every single day. I feel like that can make someone super insane. But like I want to learn myself as best as possible. And I think documenting it is like important to me. But then again, documenting it kind of ruins it, because are we enjoying our life, or are we just a witness to our life? Are we enjoying the concert, or are we just recording to post on the story? But I'm trying to detach. I'm starting to realize that nothing in this world belongs to me. Not a feeling, not a person, not a moment, not an item, not clothes, nothing. So here's the choice. Would you rather be numb and safe, or would you rather be terrified and happy? I feel like for me, I'd rather be terrified and happy, because I'd rather have the moment with my sister and miss it later than never have it at all. This week, I want you to catch yourself when you feel like you are pre-grieving, and I want you to catch that glitch and just stop and take a breath, look around, and just be there, be in the present. If you have ever missed a moment while you were still living in it, trust me, this mic is crying with you.